What up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. NBA Talk with J Money, my guy Shark, or we got our guy Ronald Cabang here with us as well at UCapper on Twitter. We appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shark, what's up with you, my guy? Everything cool with you?
Absolutely. As I said, taking a breath after that nice little pre-workout violin, which I know people love. Would love to do it. Beautiful Thirsty Thursday, January 13th, 2022. Nice looking card in the league today. Ronald, Cabang.
That's good. Yeah, yes, sir. I'm glad to be back, man. It was a week ago today, my first show with you guys, and I love it. Definitely hope I can keep coming back every week.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Let's do it, bro. Like I say, I wish we could have you on every day, bro. But let's get straight into it, guys. Let's get straight into it. Let's go over here to the streets of Milwaukee. Here we got the Bucks. A line open up at 2.5. It's down to 1.5 ones here. We know that the Warriors are 13-3 against the spread. Last 16 games, following a loss. The Bucks, they still have lacking some ball distribution here. Shark may get back George Hill tonight. We know that the road team has covered 5 of the last 7 meetings here. Shark. You like anything in this one?
I don't. I wish I did, actually. I mean, this is the type of game you want to have a side on. I got my brother in my house. We're going to be watching the game. This is going to be really tough for me. Of course, you go back to early last year, the first 2 games of the season, the Golden State Warriors went on the road to the East. They got absolutely hammered by Brooklyn. And then in game 2, they got absolutely hammered by Milwaukee, 138-99. Of course, times have changed. The calendar has changed. Klay Thompson's back, and they are a juggernaut, probably the top seed in the West, looking for a championship this year. Unfortunately, if you really zoom in on the matchup this season, it becomes difficult for me. Milwaukee's lost 2 in a row. Of course, they burned us the other night against Charlotte, back-to-back against Charlotte. They've lost 4 of 5. Warriors coming here off a loss against the Grizzlies. I talk about this all the time. One of the hardest things to cap is when both teams are coming from the same position. Both teams should improve. Both teams should be very peaked in this matchup. Milwaukee also gets a revenge game. They did lose 122-121 in Golden State last year on a 2.5. On that point, 2.5 Milwaukee road, short 2.5 home. The line is on the Dubs. The environment is potentially on Milwaukee. As you guys see, I could go on for an hour about why this game is difficult to cap. I have no official play here. Ronald?
I do have an official play on this one. The Warriors, they lost 3 of the last 4 games and are in the middle of a tough 4-game road trip. They lost to the Grizz on Tuesday. They got the Bucks tonight and then the Bulls tomorrow, and they close it out with the Wolves. Draymond is obviously still out for the Warriors, and they're just a different team without him. Their defensive and offensive rating declined without him, and the net rating is plus 10.8 with him and a minus 4.3 without him. That's a huge gap for just one player being missed. A couple things to point out about the Warriors on the road. They're 1-6 against the spread on the road this season when their opponent is more rested. And if you add that there's a dog, and it's a small dog today, I think it's at +1 right now. But they're 0-3 against the spread at that point. The Bucks, they haven't looked all that great lately either. They lost 4 of their last 5, but they're well rested and they get some guys back. I know Drew is probably out and Hill is out, but I think they can cover and win this one on a short line at home. Official play in the Bucks.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hill is questionable as well. He got upgraded to questionables. That's my main thing with the Bucks right now. They're really missing their point guards. You could really argue that as much as the Warriors are missing Draymond Green, that the Bucks are missing Drew Holiday over there. So they could really use getting George Hill back today, and they did get Grayson Allen back as well, one of their guards. So that should help out today for the Bucks, guys. Let's go over here to the streets of Memphis. Here we got the Grizzlies, absolutely red hot, guys. Won 10 straight games. They're on the all-time high right now, right? I can't say, man, it is tough to bet against the Grizzlies. Now, you see this line come down. It was at 5.5 last night. It's down to 4, and that's even with Steven Adams possibly coming back today. I think that a lot of people are not necessarily looking that this is the 7th game in 10 days for the Grizzlies here, and they have a game tomorrow as well. So things only get worse for the amount of games in so many days for the Grizzlies here. Obviously, it's tough to go against them here, Shark. Do you think you could get there with the Wolves, or do we just keep riding the streak with the Grizzlies?
I think this is an incredibly tough cap, to be perfectly honest. You laid the table. We'll continue. Of course, Grizzlies on a dub 10. And we always talk about this. When a team gets so scorching hot, it's so easy to continue to back them. But in the back of your mind, if you're a thinking, logical person, you have to think to yourself, is this sustainable? When will they lose? And that's the first thing I think to myself. And then you go through this matchup. Of course, Minnesota did hammer them by 43 points, which we had correctly going back to early season. 138-95, the worst effort of Memphis's season. And Jay, we talk about this all the time. You said this actually when this particular team with a bye hat engaged lost by 73 points. It would be in their mind. They would remember it. Teams remember when they get absolutely obliterated and professionally insulted. So on that point, Memphis will remember that, and they will want to turn up here, despite the fact that they're on a dub 10, despite the fact that they're coming off a huge win against the Warriors, and they have a look ahead to a divisional revenge game tomorrow. If I had to lay it, I would lay it with Memphis here. I'm not doing it. Wolves off a loss, an excruciating buzzer-beating loss to Brandon Ingram and the Pelicans. It's a tough sled. I think 5 is a really sharp number. I think the totals also razor sharp. Free play, I am continuing to ride the wave with the Grizzlies, however. Ronald?
Yeah, the Wolves, this is the last game of their fairly easy 4-game road trip. They lost to the Pelicans in their last game. They could have been looking ahead to this game. In their last 5 games, they're actually the number one team in offensive rating, net rating, and even true shooting percentage. And on the Grizzlies side, they won 10 in a row, obviously. They just smacked the Warriors. They're clicking on all cylinders. During their 10-game win streak, they're 4th in offensive rating and defensive rating, and the number 1 team in net rating at plus 12.3. They also have a huge revenge spot. Like Shark said, they got smacked by the Wolves by 43 in November, and they're pretty strong in these revenge spots this season. They're 6-0 straight up and against the spread against teams they've lost to earlier in the season, with an average margin of victory of about 9 points. I'm leaning heavy towards the Grizzlies here, but some of the concerns that you guys mentioned are pretty much the same reasons why I'm concerned too, and that's probably why I've kind of been hesitant on this. It's also the first game of back-to-back, and another revenge spot against the Mavs tomorrow. Also leaning on the over here, just because they're both clicking on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, that's a damn good point there. Obviously, with the Timberwolves, when they get rolling, their offense can really get going over there. We'll see. I can't wait to watch this game because the Timberwolves do match up really well with the Grizzlies. Obviously, at the house, one thing I'm really noticing, some teams' home court advantage really means more than others. And they grindhouse, man, they probably have one of the top home court advantages in the league, guys. Really tough to go in there and win. So even though the Timberwolves match up really well with them, some teams aren't necessarily ready for that crowd. And obviously, when they get to hitting baskets, it can get pretty crazy in there, guys. Can't wait to watch that one. Let's go over here to the streets of New Orleans, guys. We got the Pelicans here, and it's crazy, guys, because I said this early in the year. They already beat the Clippers twice, and I said, I'm like, what's going on with the Clippers when they go to New Orleans? They're 6-21 against the spread last 27 meetings in New Orleans. I don't know what it is. I said this last time. I don't know what they're doing. They're going there to eat or something, man. 3-10 against the spread last 13 games, following the ATS win for the Clippers as well. They don't seem to cover in New Orleans. It's crazy. They're actually 0-6 straight up as well, last 6 in New Orleans here, Shark. You think that the Clippers coming off a couple wins, can they take it on the road here? Or do the Pelicans continue to play well at the house, my guy?
Well, when I was first looking at this, I saw the same stuff you were looking at, and I was fairly astounded by their inability to play against this Pelicans team. Of course, this roster has changed over from last year to this year, and a lot of moving parts, but it doesn't seem to have changed anything. Here's my fear in terms of the line. Of course, people that listen to me every day understand line functionality. When we trace this line is all over New Orleans. This is coming all the way down. Clippers -11, Clippers -6, Clippers -2, Clippers -4.5, Clippers -7. Now, all of a sudden, New Orleans -3. I did a little bit of moving around last night when I was trying to figure out why this was moving like this. If you actually eliminate the first 13 games, which were 1-12 for the Pelicans in this campaign, which I think you can pretty much toss out. People that understand statistical evaluations know that there's outliers. And when you look at long-term data, you throw out the outliers. It doesn't really tell the story. So if we forget the first 13 games, this team is 14-14 since. They're a 500 team the last 28. The Clippers are 21-21. They're a 500 team. So when you see a 500 team at home, they should be laying 3 points to a 500 team coming in there. It's absolutely stock and sharp. And I do fear, and Jay, we've been talking about this with the Cavaliers. We've talked about this last year a bunch of times. When the team is finally favored after being a dog for so long, oftentimes they don't function nearly as well ATS. I think the line is razor sharp. I'm not expecting a blowout here tonight as much as people might think. I think there's a certain professionalism the Clippers have to show up with here tonight, and I am a little bit fearful that this line is just over-adjusted and really going to be a hover zone. I think this game really is probably going to be somewhere around like 108 to 103 or 4, somewhere around there. So no play for me, but just how I look at things, and of course, always trying to educate as much as give the official plays. Ronald?
Yeah, the Clippers, they're coming into this one on a 2-game win streak, and even in those wins, they're actually struggling offensively. In the last 5 games, they're 27th in the league in offensive rating. The Pelicans, they've lost 4 of the last 6, but in those 4 losses, they lost to top playoff contenders. They've actually been playing pretty decent ball lately. They're in the top 10 in offensive rating and true shooting percentage in their last 4 games. So their offense is coming up a little bit. A couple trends to think about in this game. Clippers are 1-4 straight up and against the spread following a game where they won outright as a dog. And the Pelicans, they're actually in the same position, and they're 1-7 straight up and 2-6 against the spread. So there's really no big edge here on either side. But just because, the Pelicans have been playing much better offense lately, I would lean towards the Pelicans in this game.
Got you. Let's go over here to the streets of Brooklyn, guys. We got the Nets coming off a huge game yesterday. Obviously, their 4th game in 5 nights. They had a game added over there in Portland. A couple of travel spots heading there. I had a feeling that someone may rest in this game, guys. Obviously, when you play a playoff type of caliber game, then you're coming off versus a opposite conference opponent. The game just doesn't matter as much. You see KD resting this one. Patty Mills happened pretty much right before we went on the show. We're seeing the live line basically at 6, down to 5.5 at some spots. We know that this is a winnable spot here for the Thunder in this one, Shark. You think they can get the outright win, at the very least cover spread here?
Yeah, and of course, I put on Twitter last night, there are certain spots that are very, very important to get out ahead of. This is one, and Jay said it, I'll continue it. The scheduling for this position for Brooklyn is basically reminiscent of the lockout season. And if you guys remember the last lockout season, there were back-to-back-to-backs. There were 4 and 5s. It was unnatural for professional basketball. And that's what you find Brooklyn in here. It's not only a 4 and 5, it's a road home back-to-back. And it's a travel schedule that is a terrorizing one. You had a home matinee on Sunday. You fly out to Portland for one random write-in game out of conference. Then you come back with your best effort of the entire season probably last night. Obviously, top 3 guys were in there. They were laughing it up on the bench, up by 40 points in the 4th quarter. Then you come back home for the 4th in 5, and you get a revenge game for the Thunder. The Thunder are 5-1 ATS at the East. The Brooklyn is 0-6 ATS against the West at home. And Brooklyn did hammer them 120-96 on the road at a -9. This opened at -10. It should have been 12, 12.5. It's shortened up now. We'll go official here with +6. I think Oklahoma City keeps this very close and potentially does win the game. As I said, 5 ATS at the East. Brooklyn 0-6 home against the West. All boxes checked. Official play. 1 unit. January 13th, 2022. Ronald.
Yeah, this one, this will be the latter half of the back-to-back games, like you mentioned, the road home. They've already had a tough schedule recently. They played the Spurs at home on the 9th, and that way into OT. The very next day, they had to travel all the way across the country to Portland to play the Blazers. Then they come back with 1 day of rest to the East to play Chicago last night. I'm pretty surprised at the way they won yesterday. But now they're back home, and they literally went back and forth across the country to play 4 games in 5 nights. They're also a fade at home. They're 5-16 against the spread at home. They failed to cover the spread in the last 6 home games, and they even lost 5 of those outright. Another trend against the Nets, I mentioned earlier, they're going on the road yesterday to home today. This season, when the Nets play their first game at home following a road game, they're 1-5 straight up and 0-6 against the spread. On the other side, even though they've been losing a lot of games this season, they've obviously been a strong against the spread team this season. They're 13-27 straight up, but 26-13-1 against the spread. If you go a little bit deeper into that, we'll see the Thunder are actually 6-0 against the spread on the road against Eastern Conference teams. I think Shark mentioned that too. Second official play, I'm with you guys. Thunder plus the points.
Let's cash it, man. They 5-1 ATS last 6 games. The road team in this series is 4-0 straight up as well, and 5 out of last 6. And like you say, Thunder 12-4 against the spread last 16 road games. You got to ride with the trends in this one. We know this game just doesn't mean as much to the Nets. The Thunder, on the other hand, trying to get off that losing streak, guys, and some little revenge versus KD over there on the bench. Shouldn't have left us, my guys. Let's go over here to the streets of Denver. We headed to the dispensary, man, right after the show. Gotta go hit the dispensary. We like the Nuggets here, Shark. We know that the Blazers just coming off a homestand. Man, ton of injuries, decimated team. I'm not gonna go as far as to say Lillard quit on the team, guys, but we know that the Nuggets coming off that 25-point meltdown loss. The coach called out his team. Obviously, it could go 2 different ways here, Shark, but we're in the business of thinking it's a nice little smack city spot for the Nuggets, Shark.
Absolutely. 10 p.m. TNT Ball Arena, Denver, Colorado. Official play. Denver Nuggets minus 10.5. A lot going on here, and I think the line functionality is a great one here. Go back to last year, the opening matchup, 111-106, -6 Denver non-cover, came down short 1.5, another non-cover on a short line. This is where it gets really interesting. It moved from 1.5 to Portland 8.5 in the final game of the season. Portland won the game 132-116. Of course, the playoffs do exist, but the playoffs do not exist in terms of line functionality for the regular season because playoff basketball, as Jay knows, is much more revenge here, back and forth, motivation to the max. The lines do not matter. So we stay the course here. Come back to this season. The line jumps from Portland 8.5 at home to Denver -6, 14.5 gap. Denver hammers them 124-95. Revenge game. Portland comes back early season. Portland -9, a 15.5 gap. They win 119-100. Now this comes all the way back to Denver -10. I think you're going to get another blowout here. I think they're just flip-flopping blowouts at this point. And when you really look at this, Denver just completely laid down to the Clippers in the second half of that game. They had no business losing that game. They come home off a road trip, and they catch Portland having played 15 out of their last 19 games at home. We talk about Atlanta having an awful road travel schedule. Portland has played 15 of 19 at home. Of course, Lillard just said he's basically out for the year. That can demoralize a group when they're holding on to something, and then they finally say it's not coming back. They lose their long-term motivation to a degree, and they come in here off 2 outright wins, a win against Sacramento, and probably one of their biggest highs of the whole year, a real blowout-style win against Brooklyn. Ultimate letdown spot, numbers all over it. Damian Lillard's out, revenge game. It is an absolute blowout spot waiting to happen. I think Denver wins this game by 25 points. Ronald, talk to me.
Yeah, Blazers, they're on a 2-game win streak, coming off a big win against the Nets on Monday. This will be their first game of a long 6-game road trip, and they're going to miss their top 4 scorers tonight: McCollum, Lillard, Powell, Simons. That leaves Nurkic and pretty much not much else. Points are going to be hard to come by for the Blazers. They've also been terrible on the road this season. They're 2-13 straight up and 3-12 against the spread, and mainly due to their defense. They're dead last in defensive rating on the road. And second place is not even close. I think it's the Houston Rockets, and there's like a 4-point gap between them. Also, they're 0-4 straight up against the spread against teams that they've already beat earlier this season. And obviously, that's a revenge spot, like Shark said. For the Nuggets, I really do think this is a smack spot. I mean, it goes along with the whole revenge going on. And I'm also leaning to the under here in revenge games this season. The Nuggets are 5-1 to the under, and they're also 6-2 to the under in home games following a road game. So for me, I would go with the Nuggets here and also the under.
Got you. Yeah, Smack City spot coming from them boys. Yeah, when Simons goes down, that was like their last best. There's their last hope of offense there. I know I've been seeing him. He's playing a lot better this season, guys. Once I saw that he was out, I'm like, oh boy, this was terrible. Can't believe this was at 8.5 last night, guys. Make sure you guys go and check out Wager Talk. If you have not checked out Wager Talk yet, you can go over there and get some plays for $1. Use the promo code J1, guys.
Have you ever checked out all the new handicappers at Wager Talk? If not, here's your chance. All NBA Talk with J Money viewers who are new to Wager Talk can get a 1-day all-access pass to the handicapper of their choice for only $1 versus a regular price of $39 using coupon code J1 when checking out. Our new roster of experts is 25 deep, covering sports from around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is be a first-time Wager Talk customer. Go to wagertalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, use coupon code J1 when checking out on a one-day all-access pass, and get a full day of picks for only $1.
Hey, you can't argue with that, man. I know people like to play for plays. If you do, hey, it's $1, or you can check us out, man. We got free NBA picks every single day, guys. But like I say, definitely go and check them out. You can get any cappers picks over there a whole day for $1. Ronald, break them off. Let them know where you're from, what you got going over there in Sports Memo, my brother.
Yeah, I'm over at sportsmemo.com. We're partnered with Wager Talk. I was last season's #1 NBA capper. I'm on the leaderboard again this season. Obviously trying to get back to back on the #1 spot. But you can see me over there. I also give out free picks here on this show. I have a show called NBA Triple Double on Sports Memo with John Ryan. We're on I think it's like 38-15 run right now. And that's all free picks, guys. I'm not selling anything on that show either. But yeah, you can catch me there. In my are we doing official picks?
Yeah, break them
Yeah,
off.
my official picks today is Bucks and Thunder right now. Definitely leaning heavy on the Nuggets as well. So that could possibly be an official play later on today too.
What's up, Shark?
Oh, we took a nice breath, a nice little pause. The second commercial break in the last 10 minutes here. And shout out to our girl there. A nice little hair change. I like that. It was looking good. But official plays today. We see you guys in the chat. So much appreciation for you guys. Dondre Thompson, Jane Shark, John Morant, and Valanciunas. We'll take that. John, can you dunk? Can you touch top of the backboard? I think so. And 2 top plays today. Denver -10.5. All the points just checked and discussed. And we're going Thunder official +6. Of course, we talked about that. One of the worst travel spots in the entire campaign for any team. Brooklyn here coming in at 4-5. Back-to-back all over the country. Absolute terrible spot. 2 top plays, 9 words of lifestyle. Ride the way we got of the water. Pleasure doing business with you, gentlemen. Jay Money, close them out.
It's always a dandy with my guy, UCapper, my guy, Sharks and Sports. As you guys know, Ronald Cabang on Twitter. If you guys can check him out, man. Let's cash these picks. Thunder and the Nuggets, man. Let's get some cash. And my guy, UCapper as well, liking the Bucks here, guys. We're going undefeated today. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hit the like button, subscribe. Go and check out Wager Talk. Use promo code J1. You get a full day of packages for just $1, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. We out. It's cash.